So Alexander Volkov has been my Russian. This is my guy. Like the biggest bets I have ever made in my life have mostly all been on Alexander Volkov. I think he's what we thought Stefan Struve could be, right? Like he's big, he's tall, he's long, but he's got the muscularity to go with it. He's got the cardio, he's got the durability to go with it. He's a problem at this weight class, and he's got just mountains of experience over a lot of these other heavyweights. I love Alexander Volkov, but I've got a problem with him. So he's 34 years old. He's got 45 professional fights. Even though heavyweights tend to last longer than most of the other weight classes, it's just, they can tend to fight a little bit longer. The wear and tear is not quite as bad on their bodies, it seems, and the power is the last thing to go, so you stick around at this weight class a little bit longer. 45 professional fights with a frame that size, like that is something that's hard to do. He seems to be a little bit on the decline to me. Now, he looked good in his last fight against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but that, let's be real, folks, that was an early stoppage. Like, Jairzinho got clipped, he got hurt, his mouthpiece goes flying, but he wasn't out of there yet. I think Volkov probably goes on to win that fight, but it was an early stoppage. Before that, he got ran through by Tom Aspinall. Now, there's no shame in being run through by Tom Aspinall because that guy is a monster at the heavyweight division. But the thing that concerns me is the straight arm lock. Folks, straight arm locks don't work in mixed martial arts. They simply do not work in high-level MMA. It's too easy to defend, and you've just got to have like a strength advantage on your opponent to hit a straight arm lock like that is frankly ridiculous. The fact that he got hit by that, even against someone as slick as Tom Aspinall, is upsetting to me. It's like when the Boa, my man, old man Olenek, like when he hits those Ezekiel chokes.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to hit those. Like they're easy enough to defend. You're never supposed to hit those in high level martial arts. My guy Volkov is tall and long. He can be taken down. He's got a good get up game, but his initial takedown defense sucks. And he's in a smaller cage taking on Romanov, a guy who picks people with 300 pounds up and throws them across the cage. That's the man we're dealing with here. That's a problem. He's going to get taken down by Romanov. And a lot of people are looking back at Romanov's last fight, the Tybura fight, where he somehow managed to get a win and not a draw. I think it should have been. Wasn't there a point deduction? I thought that was actually going to be.
Tybura got the. Romanov had a 10-8 first round. He mauled him in the first round.
That was it. Okay. It was a 10-8.
Just won the last two rounds, but they were like closer. A lot of people thought it should have been a draw.
That's what I remember thinking, that it was a goofy draw type situation, but you're right. It was a 10-A, not a point deduction. But we got to remember that fight, I believe, was also at altitude, wasn't it?
Oh, that might be a good, I don't know.
It was in Salt Lake City, Utah. So I think that's a little higher. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we talked about the altitude thing going into that fight. And I told everybody on the show, I was like, look, if we see Romanov not get that first round finish, you live bet Tybura. End of story. Because he survived the 10-8 round and we knew he was going to punch his way back into it going on. We don't have to worry about the altitude in this fight. We've got the younger fighter with less miles on his body. Romanov is only 32 years old. And I mentioned the arm lock, folks. Romanov is built like an ox. This man has that strength advantage over everybody, and he has multiple submissions on his record that are that fuck you, I'm stronger than you type of submission. You remember the forearm front choke that he got Marcos Rogerio de Lima with? He's capable. He always rolls for Kimuras and Americanas.
That was just like a fat guy. Like, I'm super strong. Let me just press on your neck.
Yeah. I'm just going to close your esophagus with my body weight. Like that's
big brother.
hold him under until the bubbles stop. So frankly, I hate going against my guy, but I bet on Alexandr Romanov. I think he's going to take Volkov down whenever he wants to. And he's a younger fighter, so I think he's probably going to be learning to manage that cardio and that pace a little bit better. And even frankly, if he doesn't, he'll be able to take Volkov down whenever he wants. And sitting on people's chest the way he does, he's going to get one of those fuck you chokes on him or submissions. Keith, I'm going to call it outright. Like, I'm going to look over. BetMGM every once in a while releases like the exact submission props on fights.
Okay.
They're at stupid numbers. They're almost impossible to hit because it's hard enough to call when somebody gets a submission, much less the exact submission that they're going to get. But I'm going to say it's a Kimura. I think he's going to get up on top of him and bend his arm and break his shoulder. I think it's going to be a
All
Kimura
right.
or Americana.